Welcome back to my series, where I highlight a specific game to show why a said console is awesome. Today we are looking at the original beast itself, the original Microsoft Xbox. And the game that makes the original Xbox awesome is Star Wars Battlefront. Before I start, if you enjoy the video, please leave a like because it will help my channel grow so I can keep on creating content for all of you. If you want to see more, then feel free to subscribe. And I would appreciate it if you would share the video around with your family and friends. Okay, enough of that. Let's get into the video. As of right now, most modern gamers are excited for the new Star Wars Battlefront 2 by EA and DICE. But for me personally, I didn't like EA's 2015 version of Star Wars Battlefront. When you bought it, you were really buying maybe 25% of a game, and the other 75% was locked behind a paywall. Plus, it had way too many features missing, like a single player campaign, prequel era, and space battle. And for me, the gameplay was not what I was expecting from a Battlefront game. It was a Star Wars skinned Battlefield, which was also developed by DICE. I did not enjoy it at all. Sure, it had amazing graphics, but gameplay felt mediocre to me, all flash and no substance. The 2015 Battlefront felt more like a demo for the 2017 Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is aiming to fix all the problems that people had with the first game. But recently I did try Star Wars Battlefront 2 out, and I can tell you I still don't like it. The gameplay is just, I don't like it. When I was being forced to play as the rebels, like always in these fucking games, the Empire felt like robots. Like the stormtroopers, they just walk towards you. You know, they have no sense of getting out of the way, rolling out of the way, getting behind cover. They just walk in a straight line towards you and you just blast them. Next one, next one, next one, next one, next one. It was boring. None of them tried to evade any of my shots. They just kept walking toward me like robots. It just wasn't fun for me. And I know some of you will say, well, that's why you play against people, not bots. But you know what? I like playing against bots and I like playing against people. But if playing against people is fun, but playing against bots is not, I feel like I'm being let down, because in the original game, playing against people and bots was still fun. So yeah, it's not so much fun in 2017 Star Wars Battlefront 2. But you know what, that's my opinion. If you love EA and DICE's version of Star Wars Battlefront, then more power to you. That's great. I hope you did enjoy it, and I hope you enjoy the sequel just as much. It just didn't do it for me. So while most modern gamers are looking towards the present and the future, I'm going to be looking at the past and playing the game that started it all. Star Wars Battlefront was developed for the PS2, Xbox, and Windows, and was released in 2004. There were two other versions that were released the following year in 2005, and that was a port for the Macintosh and a cell phone version known as Star Wars Battlefront Mobile. Star Wars Battlefront was developed by Pandemic Studios, also known for their Destroy All Human series, and was published by LucasArts. So right off the bat, everyone knew this game was just going to bring it. Before Battlefront, there were many Star Wars games developed for many systems, such as the Atari 2600, the NES, Super NES, arcades, and the PC. Pretty much every platform had at least one Star Wars game. Some were about the films, and others took place after or before. But up to that point, I never cared for really any Star Wars games that I heard of back then. Sure, there are some good ones that I didn't even know existed, but even those good ones didn't offer me the game that I always wanted to play. I wanted to play a game where I could play as a stormtrooper and be on the front lines of those iconic battlefields that we saw in the films, like the invasion of Hoth or the Battle of Endor. I wanted to control an AT-AT and just blow away all the rebel scum in my sight. And then a trailer was released that blew me away, and it looked like my dream Star Wars game was finally becoming a reality, and it was looking even better than I could dream of. I just wanted to play as a stormtrooper, but being able to play as rebels and clones and droids and much more was even better. Seeing all those locations and iconic battlefields and all those classic outfits and sounds got me and every other Star Wars fan out there excited. Just knowing that we would finally be able to play on these battlefields was more than enough to make us all drool. I couldn't wait. I know this is an Xbox episode, but I have to clarify this. When I first played Battlefront, we didn't have an Xbox. We had a PS2, and this is where I first experienced it. My brothers and I would play the game almost non-stop every day. We couldn't get enough of it. Finally, being able to take part in these battles took us back to our childhood. But you could say I was still a child because I was only 15 when Battlefront came out. But I watched the original films when I was very young, like 5 years old. So this game meant a lot to me. But sadly, our PS2 broke again, and that was our third one. Before I go on, I must apologize because I must go off subject for a minute. The PS2 was easily one of the crappiest built consoles I have ever fucking seen. The PS2 broke all the time. Not just for us, but for other people as well. The only other console we had to rebuy multiple times was the original PS1. Sony's consoles are just produced very cheaply. Now, I know the 360 was notorious as well, but it never gave me as many problems as the PS2. Damn near everyone I knew who owned a PS2 had to buy more than one during its lifetime. That console was made for casuals who just wanted to watch DVDs. If you used it to play games, it was going to break sooner rather than later. If yours never broke, then you know what, that's great for you. But ours broke constantly with bullshit disk read errors, and it wasn't like we weren't even taking care of the console. We always did. But the PS2 just never wanted to keep working. It was a good console with a lot of amazing games, but it is seriously an overrated console. Okay, I'm sorry about that, but let's get back to the story. By that point, I think my brother was just tired of rebuying the damn system, so we couldn't play anymore. But in 2005, I got my first job, and with my first paycheck, I went to Best Buy and I bought an Xbox. It was bundled with an extra controller and the DVD kit so I could watch movies on it. And the first game I had to buy for my brand new Xbox was Halo 2. I mean, yeah, come on. What did you think it was going to be? Halo 2 is the reason I even bought the Xbox, but shortly after that, we did eventually pick up Star Wars Battlefront. And wow, you know what? It was even better. The game's graphics looked so much clearer and it loaded faster thanks to the Xbox's superior hardware. The game even played better thanks to the Xbox controller. To this day, I have still been playing Star Wars Battlefront regularly. It's just so much fun and I can't put it down, ever. Even my brothers from time to time still play it. And so do my nieces. In fact, my nieces enjoy it more than EA's 2015's Battlefront, which is actually really surprising. Okay, that was my history with Battlefront, but now let's actually get into the game. So what is Star Wars Battlefront? As if you didn't know already. But since this is my first video talking about it, I will explain it. Star Wars Battlefront is a first and third person shooter. You can choose in the options which style you want to play with. Both are okay, but for the original game, I prefer to use the third person style. It's just what I've always been using, and playing in the first person mode feels like I can't see enough of the battlefield. But at least for those who like first person, have the option to choose their preferred style. In Star Wars Battlefront, you are just another helpless soldier taking part in the galaxy's greatest battles. When it comes to the timeline, you can choose from two eras. You can choose the Clone War era, where you control either the Galactic Republic, which is represented by the Clone Army, or the Confederacy of Independent Systems, or CIS for short, represented by the Droid Army. The other era you can choose is the Galactic Civil War era, where you control either the Rebel Alliance, represented by the Rebel Army, or my personal favorite, the Galactic Empire, represented by the Imperial Army. The main objective of the gameplay is conquest. Both factions get a specific amount of reinforcements and a set amount of command posts at the start. The goal is to either destroy all opposing forces or capture every base on the map, and you must hold it for 20 seconds. Do either one of these and you are victorious. While mainly you will be on foot as a soldier. Some, if not all maps, have vehicles you can pilot. You have land vehicles such as the AT-AT and ATSTs and speeders. Some maps have air vehicles you can pilot such as the TIE fighters and X-Wings. There are some stationary vehicles such as turrets to shoot down air vehicles, but it can also be used against ground forces as well. When it comes to units, each faction has 5 classes. 4 of these classes are similar for each faction, but they all have one special unique class. So let's go through all of these one at a time. First up, we have the basic infantryman, which is your standard soldier, and if you're like me, is going to be the class you use the most. The basic infantryman carries your standard blasters and grenades. The units for each faction are the clone troopers, super battle droids, rebel soldiers, and stormtroopers. The droid army has another basic infantryman unit that only shows up in the first 2 missions of the campaign, and that is the B-1 battle droid. There's nothing fancy about this class, but it's the most effective. Second, we have the snipers. This unit is your long-range unit that carries their namesake as their weapon of choice. Sniper rifles, and they can deploy recon droids as well. Once you get used to this class, you will be taking out soldiers from long range left and right. It's a very fun class to use. The units for each faction are the clone sharpshooters, assassin droid, rebel marksman, and the scout trooper. Third, we have the pilots. Their weapon of choice is a special launcher, and they can deploy health and ammunition for their teammate. This is the unit you want to use if you want to use vehicles, because while they are piloting a vehicle, the vehicle's health will gradually fill back up. Plus, they can also repair turrets. I personally don't like using this unit because I don't usually use vehicles. The unit for each factions are the clone pilots, drone pilot, rebel pilot, and imperial pilot. Yeah, there's not too much creativity in this class's names. It is nice when an AI pilot gives you health and ammo to keep you in the fight though. Fourth, we have the heavy units. They use rocket launchers and drop landmines. While the rockets are powerful against vehicles, they suck against units unless it's a direct hit. You would think if there was a group of soldiers clumped together, I could just shoot the ground at their feet and kill all of them, but not here. It will usually just barely damage all of them. It's very underpowered, and you get a very small supply, so stick close to a pilot or an ammo droid. The units for each faction are the ARC Trooper, Assault Droid, Rebel Vanguard, and Shock Trooper. Last but not least is the 5th unit class, which is the Special class. This class is unique for each faction when it comes to weapons and skills. They each have a different type of weapon. Like for example, the Dark Trooper has the Blast Caster. The blast is powerful and spreads, and he has a jetpack. The Wookiee Smuggler has a similar weapon, but it's a crossbow that can be charged. The Droidekas can transform and cover itself in a rechargeable shield. And the Jet Trooper has an EMP launcher and has a jetpack as well. This class can be fun because they are unique on the battlefield, and units like the Dark and Jet Trooper are good for capturing bases fast in the early game. But there is more on the battlefield than just your faction's units. There are helpful droids and other factions that can be helpful or harmful depending on which faction you are. There are 2 droids located in multiple spots on each map. One replenishes your health and the other resupplies you with ammo. But there are other units on the battlefield depending on the maps. Like in Mos Eisley, there are Jawas running around and they give you ammo and health, just like the pilots. On Endor, there are Ewoks that will attack the Imperial army only, but then on the Dune Sea map, both factions have to worry about the Tusken Raiders that will attack both factions and can capture bases as well, making your life hell if you allow them to keep spawning units in. It is very wise to take the Tusken Raiders out as soon as possible and capture their bases to just get them off the field. Now in the options, if you have it turned on, sometimes Jedis and Sith Lords will appear on the battlefield. The clones have Mace Windu, the CIS have Count Dooku, the Rebels have Luke Skywalker, and the Empire of course has Darth Vader. They will usually block all of your attacks and usually can't be killed. I say usually because if you throw a grenade at them, you can make them fly through the air, and if you're lucky on some maps, they can fall off, and that is the only way to kill them. On Cloud City, I do this to Luke Skywalker as many times as I possibly can, and when I'm playing as the Empire, it's always great to see Darth Vader out there with you, just chopping down rebels left and right. I just love seeing it. Now, sadly, the Jedi and Sith cannot be controlled in this game, which was a shame at the time. In Star Wars Battlefront, you can play the game by yourself, or you can play in split screen, or back in the day, online as well. On the PS2 and Xbox, you could have up to 32 players in a match, but on PC, you could have up to 64 players. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the online functionality does not work anymore for the PS2 and the original Xbox. You can't do it no more. Now, you may be able to play online still on the PC, but I'm not sure. There are 3 modes to play on, even though the core gameplay is the same, but these modes are different and add longevity to extend the gameplay experience. First, we have the historical campaign. In this mode, you will play several battles in a set order loosely based on the films. You start off as the droid army, then you play as the clones, and then the Empire, and finally ending with the rebels. It's not very long, and it can be completed very quickly. So as far as campaigns go, it's not all that great. The second mode is Galactic Conquest. In this mode, you have to use strategy. You have to use strategy to take control of all the planets and dominate the galaxy. There are 8 different configurations based on conflicts for both eras of the Star Wars history. Some maps start off with both factions controlling equal amounts of planets, or they favor one faction at the start. Once you choose your configuration, you are then allowed to choose your faction, depending on what era you chose. The 8 configurations are as follows. 1. Birth of the Rebellion. Your faction is the Rebellion, and your starting planets are Hoth and Yavin 4. 2. Dark Side Rising. Your faction is the Empire, and your starting planets are Endor and Bespin. 3. Attack of the Clones. Your faction is the Republic, and your starting planets are Kamino and Kashyyyk. 4. Revenge of the Sith. Your faction is CIS, and your starting planet are Geonosis and Renvar. 5. The Galactic Civil War. You can choose either the Rebellion or the Empire, and the Rebel starting planets are Hoth, Renvar, and Yavin 4. The Empire starting planets are Endor, Kashyyyk, and Naboo. 6. A Galaxy Divided. You can choose either the Rebellion or Empire, and the Rebel starting planets are Hoth, Bespin, and Yavin 4. The Empire starting planets are Endor, Kashyyyk, and Tatooine. 7. The Clone Wars. You can choose either the Republic or CIS, and the Republic starting planets are Kamino, Tatooine, and Yavin 4. The CIS starting planets are Bespin, Geonosis, and Renvar. 8. Balance of the Force. You can choose either the Republic or CIS, and the Republic starting planets are Bespin, Kamino, and Kashyyyk. The CIS starting planets are Geonosis, Naboo, and Renvar. Once that is done, you can then choose which planet to attack. If you win, you can choose the next planet to attack, and so on. But if you lose, then your opponent will choose which planet to attack. Each planet you control gives you a planetary bonus that you can deploy before every battle. Here's what every bonus is. Bespin gives you the Sabotage bonus, which makes all the enemy vehicles spawn in heavily damaged. I usually use this bonus on Kashyyyk and Hoth. Naboo gives you the Back to Tanks bonus. This allows your troops' health to gradually regenerate. Renvar gives you the Orbital Sensors bonus. This will disable your opponent's radar for the minimap. They won't be able to see if there are any units in the area. Kashyyyk gives you the Reinforcements bonus. This bonus will give you an extra 50 soldiers when your troops have fallen too low. This is a good one to use. Tatooine gives you the Jedi Hero bonus. This bonus allows your faction to have a Jedi or Sith on the battlefield. This one is fun and will help you lower your opponent's troops much faster. Yavin 4 gives you the Elite Training bonus. This will make all your units have better marksmanship and accuracy. I use this one a lot as well, but to be honest, I'm not sure if it really does what it says, but it gives me peace of mind thinking that my troops are more accurate. Now with every 4 victories, you can use a special planetary bonus that you get from your main base plane. Geonosis gives you the Blockade bonus. Only the CIS can use this, and it will destroy any planet you choose. But choose wisely, because once that planet is destroyed, not only can your opponent not use that planetary bonus, but neither can you. Kamino gives you the Insurrection bonus. This is only for the Republic, and it will automatically claim a planet as your own, and you can then use that planet's bonus. Endor gives you the Death Star bonus. This is only for the Empire, and it has the same effect as the CIS's Blockade bonus. So again, choose wisely. And finally, we have Hoth, which gives you the Overthrow bonus. Only the Rebels can use this, and it has the same effect as the Republic's Insurrection bonus. Oh, and the special planetary bonuses won't work on your opponent's main bases, so don't try it. The third and last mode is Instant Action. This is where you can choose from all the maps. Here you can customize the list of battles to take part in, and can be played in any order you choose, or in a random order. You can choose whatever era you want and your faction, except for on the planets Kamino, Geonosis, Endor, and Hoth. you can't select what era you want for these maps. I guess so they can keep it accurate to the movies. You may also choose whether if you want a Jedi hero in the battle or not. Star Wars Battlefront shipped with 16 maps to fight on, and here it is as follows. Bespin Platforms, Bespin Cloud City, Endor Bunker, Geonosis Spire, Hoth Echo Base, Camino Tipoca City, I think that's how you pronounce it, I have no idea, Kashyyyk Islands, Kashyyyk Docks, Naboo Plains, Naboo Theed, Renvar Harbor, Renvar Citadel, Tatooine Dune Sea, Tatooine Mos Eisley, Yavin 4 Temple, Yavin 4 Arena. This is what shipped on the disc for Battlefront for the PS2, Xbox, and PC. But on the Xbox and PC, if you downloaded the patch for the game, you would get one extra map, Jabba's Palace. This is a great map, and it's a shame I don't have it on my Xbox. I had it on my 360 before, but sadly I think it's gone. If you have a modded Xbox, you can always download it and install it on your Xbox. Unfortunately, PS2 fans wouldn't be able to play on Jabba's Palace until Star Wars Battlefront 2. Star Wars Battlefront's graphics still look pretty good today, but they do look dated compared to the newer installments by EA and DICE. The game is still fun in single player or multiplayer. When it comes to actual gameplay, I have no problems. The controls work flawlessly. You move with the left thumbstick and move the camera with the right thumbstick. The A button allows you to jump, but if you have a jetpack, you can press A again to activate the jetpack. But if you move left and right on the thumbstick while pressing A, you will do a roll. Tap B to crouch and double tap B to go prone. The Y button is used to enter and exit vehicles. X is to reload your weapon. The right trigger fires your primary weapon, while the left trigger fires your secondary weapon. The white button switches your alternate weapon, while the black button switches your primary weapon. The back button is for toggling the map, and the start button pauses the game, obviously. But then here's something I always forget about and never use because I never remember it's in here. The D-pad issues commands. Up is move out, left is at ease, right is follow me, and down is hold position. Being on the battlefield is still fun as it has always been. Some maps offer air battles, but to be honest, I usually never use it for battling. I use these more to just get somewhere faster, but it's there if you want to use them. Something else happened while I was recording the gameplay footage. I experienced a glitch I have never seen before. When I landed my ship and exited from there, my character got stuck in a falling animation and didn't recover. So I was gliding around the battlefield and still being able to shoot at enemies even though my weapon is facing the sky. I also love how calmly he just flicks his wrist to throw a grenade. You know, it's a shame I wasn't recording when it happened, but I sure as hell hit record after I saw what happened. Being able to control the AT-AT is always fun, but very slow. But when I was the Rebels, I could never tangle the AT-AT's legs on Hoth. No matter how many times I tried, I could never get it. To this day, I have never brought down an AT-AT like that, which sucks. Driving the speeders are great, but the name is a lie. There's no way on maps like Endor you can speed around the forest with that thing. You will crash instantly, especially when it looks clear, then out of nowhere a tree or a rock pops up. And still to this day, I can't tell you how satisfying it is to see Luke go flying through the air because of a grenade I threw. And to see him fall off the platform to his death is still as funny as ever. The big appeal to Battlefront back in the day was the multiplayer, but on the Xbox that is gone now. But playing split screen with a friend is still fun as always, and even playing against the bots on hard mode can still give you a worthy challenge. Even though I love this game, it's not perfect. There are some issues. Like I mentioned earlier, the single player campaign is very lackluster. And one complaint that is still valid today is that the AI is very dumb. A lot of the times you will see the AI just standing around, not doing anything. It's like if they go to the wrong spot on the map, they just forget what they were doing. Also, the AI aim can be solved by just moving left to right while you're shooting at them. But if you have the game on hard mode, this won't work as much. The sound is mostly from the film's soundtrack and is very appropriate here. Hearing these iconic songs while you're battling in these iconic locations, seeing these iconic characters and vehicles is amazing to see, even today. the game still holds up very much. Maybe not graphically, but gameplay it does, and gameplay is what matters. Now, I know some people out there say that old ones don't because there's no progression, there's no customization. You know what? I don't give a shit about that crap. That's a modern multiplayer type of feature. Older games don't need that shit. Quake didn't need to be customizing crap. I don't need that here in Battlefront. Overall, the original Star Wars Battlefront is still fun to play today, and I still rather play it over the 2015 and 2017 version. It does have some faults, but that doesn't stop me from putting this game into my Xbox and playing it for hours. I would say pick it up if you haven't played it, or you just want to go back and experience the greatness that was Star Wars Battlefront. Out of the two console versions, I suggest getting the Xbox version because it looks and runs better with faster load times. And if your Xbox is modded, you can still get the Jabba's Palace map. You can find the game complete on eBay for around $14.99, so there's really no reason not to pick this game up. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you never got to play the original, I hope this video inspires you to go pick it up and play it. Now, even though I did say the Xbox is better, but if you are a Sony fan, then go get it for the PS2. It is still fun. Or if you're a PC gamer, go get it for the PC. Now, I don't mind it for the PC, but for me, I had a lot of graphical issues, which I probably could have fixed, but I just never got around to it, so I don't play it that much on my PC. But it's there also. The game is still fun. Once again, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And if you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. Tell me in the comments what you thought of the video and the game. If there is any game you want me to review, leave a suggestion in the comments. Also, please share the video around so I can keep the channel growing. Again, thank you. I love Star Wars Battlefront. I will continue to love and play it forever. It's still a lot of fun, and it is a great example of why the Microsoft Xbox is awesome. I'll see you next time, and until then, keep on gaming, gamers.